She shoved her baby sister into his arms and collapsed. Face first. 11 years old. Barefoot. 6 miles through the blizzard. The belt marks on her back were still bleeding through her torn dress. 3 silver stars branded into her skin. "Save them first," she whispered. "He's coming." Behind her, a 7-year-old stood frozen in the snow, crying without sound. A 4-year-old whimpered in his arms, light as bones. And through the storm, a lantern was moving fast, half a mile out. The uncle was coming to finish what he started. Subscribe now and stay until the end. Comment your city so I can see how far this story travels. The girl's knees hit his porch like gunshots. Samuel Hollister caught her before her skull cracked the frozen boards. His hands, scarred from the forge, wrapped around a body that weighed nothing. Skin and bone. 11 years of skin and bone. "Save them first," her voice broke. "Please, mister, save them first." Then her eyes rolled back. "Hannah!" The 7-year-old screamed from the edge of the porch light. "Hannah, wake up!" Sam looked up. 2 more. A middle one clutching a rag doll, feet bare and blue. A tiny one in his other arm, maybe 4, shaking so hard her teeth clicked. 3 girls. 3 half-frozen girls on his doorstep in the middle of a blizzard. He hadn't spoken to another soul in 11 days. Hadn't wanted to. "Mister?" The tiny one's voice was barely there. "Is Hannah dead?" "Not yet." Sam kicked the door wide. "Inside! Now! Move!" The 7-year-old didn't move. Her eyes were locked on her sister's face. "I said move!" She flinched, then ran. Sam carried the oldest one in, the tiny one still pressed against his chest. The forge coals glowed red. Heat hit his face. He laid Hannah on the bench near the stove, and the smell rose up. Blood. Frozen skin. Fear. The belt marks on her back wept clear fluid where the skin had split. 3 silver stars stamped into flesh, over and over. Someone had swung hard. Someone had enjoyed it. "Lily." The tiny one squirmed in his arms. "Lily, I'm scared." The 7-year-old Lily stood by the door, dripping, shaking, watching Sam like he might turn into a monster any second. "I ain't gonna hurt you," Sam said. "That's what Uncle Vernon said too." Sam went still. "What's your name?" he asked the tiny one. "Gracie." She buried her face in his shirt. "And that's Lily. And Hannah takes care of us. She always takes care of us. But now she's dead, and Uncle Vernon's coming, and he's going to kill us too, just like Mama and Papa." "Hannah ain't dead." Sam set Gracie down on the bench beside her sister. "And ain't nobody killing anyone tonight. Not while I'm breathing." Gracie looked up at him. Blue eyes, wet cheeks, snot running down her lip. "You promise?" Sam thought about promises. About the ones he'd made to Clara 7 years ago. About the ones he'd broken when she bled out in his arms and he couldn't stop it. "I promise," he said. The word tasted like rust. He turned to Hannah. Her lips were gray, pulse weak under his fingers. Frostbite on both hands, black at the tips. Her feet were worse. She'd walked through hell to get here. "How far did you run?" he asked Lily. 6 miles, maybe more." Lily's voice was flat, dead. "Hannah carried Gracie the whole way. I wanted to help, but she said I had to save my strength. She said if she fell, I had to keep running and not look back." "But you looked back." "I always look back." Lily's chin trembled. "That's how I saw his lantern." Sam moved to the window, wiped the frost with his palm. There, a light in the darkness, bobbing through the snow, Fast. His gut clenched. How long ago? I don't know. 20 minutes? Maybe less? 20 minutes. The rider would be here in 10. Maybe 5 if he pushed the horse. Lily, Sam kept his voice steady. I need you to do something for me. She didn't answer. Just watched him with those two old eyes. Get that wool blanket off my bed. Wrap it around your sisters. Keep them warm. Can you do that? I always do that. She moved, quick, silent, like a girl who'd learned to be invisible. Sam grabbed his rifle from above the fireplace, checked the chamber, loaded. Mister? Gracie's voice wobbled. Are you going to shoot Uncle Vernon? Sam looked at her, 4 years old, shaking on a stranger's bench, asking about murder like she was asking about dinner. What kind of hell had these girls lived through? I'm going to do what needs doing, he said. You stay inside. Don't come out, no matter what you hear. But what if, no matter what? He walked to the door, pulled it open. The cold hit his face like a fist. 2 riders now, not 1. The first carried the lantern. The second wore a star on his chest. Sheriff. The bastard had brought the sheriff. They stopped 30 yards out. The lantern man dismounted first. Thin, clean coat. Silver buckle at his waist, catching the light. 3 stars. Sam's finger found the trigger. Samuel Hollister, the man's voice carried smooth over the wind. Pleasant, like he was ordering coffee. I believe you have something that belongs to me. Ain't nothing here that belongs to you, Crane. Vernon Crane smiled. It didn't touch his eyes. My nieces, Mr. Hollister. My brother's children. They ran off tonight after some... Correction. I've been worried sick. Worried sick, Sam spat into the snow. That why you beat the oldest one bloody? Discipline, Mr. Hollister. Children need discipline. Surely you understand. I understand the marks on her back. I understand she walked 6 miles barefoot in a blizzard to get away from you. That ain't discipline. That's torture. Vernon's smile thinned. The sheriff shifted in his saddle. Tom Garrett. Honest man, mostly. Family man. The kind who followed rules because rules made sense. Sam? Garrett's voice was tired. I don't like this any more than you do. But Mr. Crane here has legal custody, signed by Judge Whitmore. Judge Whitmore's in his pocket. That may be, but the paper looks real, and I can't ignore legal paper. Vernon stepped forward. His boots crunched in the snow. Close enough now that Sam could see the calculation behind his eyes. 10 days, Mr. Hollister. That's what the law gives you. Return my nieces, or you'll be charged with kidnapping. He paused, smiled again. And I think we both know what people will say about a man like you keeping 3 young girls in his cabin. Sam's blood went cold. What's that supposed to mean? You've been alone a long time. 7 years, isn't it? No wife? No children? No visitors? Vernon tilted his head. And suddenly 3 young girls appear in your home. People talk, Mr. Hollister. People wonder. You're a snake. I'm a concerned uncle. You're a hermit with a rifle. Vernon spread his hands. Which one do you think the town will believe? The door creaked behind Sam. Mr. Hollister? Hannah's voice, weak, but burning. Sam turned. She was standing in the doorway, Lily and Gracie behind her. Her face was white as the snow, her legs barely holding her up, but her one good eye was fixed on Vernon. That man killed my parents, she said. Made it look like an accident. I heard him talking about it with Judge Whitmore, about how much our land was worth, about how he'd get rid of us, too. Vernon's face flickered, just for a second. Then the mask slid back into place. The child is hysterical, traumatized. She doesn't know what she's saying. I know exactly what I'm saying. Hannah stepped onto the porch. The cold hit her bare arms and she didn't flinch. You killed Mama and Papa for the land. The railroad wants to run through our property. You stand to make $10,000 if we're gone. Garrett's face changed. Vernon? She's lying, confused by grief. Then let a court sort it out. Sam raised the rifle slightly. 10 days, you said. Fine. I'll use every one of them. But tonight, these girls stay with me. Vernon's jaw tightened. You're making a mistake, Hollister. A very expensive mistake. Maybe, but I've made worse. They stared at each other. The wind howled between them. Gracie whimpered behind Hannah. Lily clutched her rag doll like a shield. Finally, Vernon turned to his horse. 10 days, he said over his shoulder. Then I'm coming back with deputies, and when I do, I'll take what's mine, one way or another. He mounted, rode off into the white. Garrett lingered a moment longer. Sam, his voice dropped. Be careful. I've seen Crane's type before. He won't play fair. Neither will I. Garrett nodded, tipped his hat, followed Vernon into the darkness. Sam stood on the porch until the lantern disappeared. Then he turned around. Hannah had collapsed again. Lily was holding her up, staggering under the weight. Gracie was crying, those silent tears again, the kind that came from a child who'd learned that loud crying got you hit. Inside, Sam scooped Hannah up. She weighed nothing. Now. They got her to the bench. Sam built up the fire, put the kettle on, found the salve he used for burns, tore an old shirt into bandages. His hands were too big for this kind of work, scarred from the forge, built for iron, not flesh. But he'd learned gentleness once. From Clara, in those few hours with their son, before the bleeding started, and wouldn't stop. This is going to hurt, he told Hannah. Frostbite always does when the feeling comes back. I know. Her voice was steady, steadier than it should have been. I've had frostbite before. Sam didn't ask when, didn't want to know. He worked on her hands first. The black tips would likely shed skin, but keep the fingers. Her feet were worse. She might lose a toe, maybe two. Mr. Hollister? Lily's voice came from near the fire. She'd wrapped Gracie in the wool blanket. The little one had finally stopped crying, was sucking her thumb and staring at the flames. Yeah? Why are you doing this? Sam kept working, didn't look up. Doing what? Helping us. He don't know us. He don't owe us nothing. Lily's voice cracked. Everyone else they just let Uncle Vernon do what he wants. The sheriff, the judge, the whole town. Nobody helps. Sam thought about that, about the door, about the choice he'd made when he opened it. I had a son once, he said quietly, and a wife. They died 7 years ago. My boy lived 3 hours. My wife held on a little longer, but not much. The fire crackled. Gracie's breathing had evened out, asleep. I came out here to be alone. Figured if I didn't care about anyone, I couldn't lose anyone. He finally looked at Lily. But then you knocked on my door. Hannah knocked. I just followed. Doesn't matter who knocked. What matters is I opened it. Sam turned back to Hannah's feet. Once you open a door, you can't pretend you didn't see what's on the other side. Lily was quiet for a long moment. Our papa used to say something like that. He said a man's worth ain't measured by what he has. It's measured by what he does when nobody's watching. Smart man. Uncle Vernon killed him anyway. Sam's hands went still. You sure about that? What Hannah said? I'm sure. Lily's voice was hard. Harder than any 7-year-old's voice should be. The wagon wheel didn't come off by accident. I saw Uncle Vernon near the barn the night before. He had tools. Papa's tools. He was doing something to the wheels. Did you tell anyone? Who would I tell? Uncle Vernon is the one who decides who listens and who doesn't. Sam finished wrapping Hannah's feet. The girl had passed out somewhere in the middle, her body finally giving in to exhaustion. She gonna be okay? Lily asked. She needs rest, food, warmth. Sam stood, his knees cracked. Same as you. I'm fine. You're half frozen and starving. I said I'm fine. Sam looked at her. 7 years old. Spine straight, chin up, refusing to show weakness even now. You don't have to be strong all the time, he said. Not here. Something flickered in Lily's face. Something that wanted to believe him. Hannah says we always have to be strong. She says if we show weakness, people use it against us. Hannah's been taking care of you a long time, hasn't she? Since Mama and Papa died? Before that, too, sometimes. When Papa had to work late and Mama was sick. Lily's voice dropped. Mama was sick a lot at the end. What was wrong with her? I don't know. She just got tired, real tired. And then one day, she couldn't get out of bed anymore. And Papa said we had to be brave for her. Lily swallowed hard. We were brave. We were so brave. And then she died anyway. The fire popped. Gracie murmured in her sleep, but didn't wake. I'm sorry, Sam said. The words felt useless, small. Everybody's sorry. Doesn't change nothing. Sam walked to the stove, poured hot water into a cup, added a spoonful of honey. Drink this, he said, pressing it into Lily's hands. She stared at it like she'd never seen kindness before. Maybe she hadn't. Not in a long time. What is it? Honey water. Warm you up from the inside. She took a sip, then another. Her shoulders dropped just slightly. Just enough. Mr. Hollister? Yeah? Hannah said we shouldn't trust strangers. She said everyone wants something. Lily looked up at him. What do you want? Sam thought about the question, about all the answers he could give. I want to sleep through the night without dreaming about my dead wife. I want to finish a horseshoe without thinking about the ones I made for our wedding. I want to stop feeling like my chest is full of broken glass every time I see a child that's about the age mine would have been. He crouched down so he was at eye level with her. But right now, I just want to keep you and your sisters safe. That's all. Lily studied his face, looking for the lie. Okay, she said finally. Quiet, like a door cracking open just a little. Okay, Mr. Hollister. You can call me Sam. Okay, Mr. Sam. Close enough. Gracie needs to sleep in a real bed, Lily said. She has nightmares. Bad ones. Uncle Vernon used to lock her in the cellar when she screamed, and now she can have my bed. You and Hannah, too. Where will you sleep? I won't. Sam nodded toward the window. Someone's got to keep watch. Lily's face tightened. You think he'll come back tonight? I think Vernon Crane is the kind of man who doesn't like to lose. And I just made him lose. Sam picked up his rifle. So yeah, I'm keeping watch. He carried Gracie to the bed first. She didn't wake, just curled into a ball the moment she touched the mattress. Lily climbed in beside her, still holding that rag doll. Mr. Sam? Yeah? That doll Gracie has. It was Mama's. It's the only thing we got left of her. Uncle Vernon tried to burn it once, but Hannah saved it. Lily's voice was fierce. He can take everything else, but he can't have that doll. He ain't taking nothing else from you, I promise. Sam moved Hannah to the bed last. The oldest girl was deadweight, but she mumbled something as he laid her down. "Papa? Is that you, Papa?" Sam's throat closed up. "Rest now," he managed. "You're safe." Hannah's eyes fluttered open. For a moment, she looked at him with something like confusion. Then the reality came back, and her face hardened again. "He'll find a way," she whispered. "He always finds a way." "Not this time." "You don't know him. You don't know what he's capable of." "I know what I'm capable of." Sam pulled the blanket up to her chin. "And that's enough." Hannah stared at him for a long moment. Then she closed her eyes. "Thank you," she breathed, "for opening the door." Sam didn't answer. Couldn't. He walked back to the window and sat down with his rifle across his knees. Outside, the blizzard raged. The wind screamed through the pines like something dying. 10 days. He had 10 days to prove that Vernon Crane was a murderer and a fraud. 10 days to find evidence that would hold up in court. 10 days before the law came for him and the girls. It wasn't much time. But it was more than Hannah had given herself when she'd walked 6 miles through the snow. The fire crackled. The girls breathed soft in his bed. And for the first time in 7 years, the silence in Sam's cabin didn't feel like a tomb. It felt like something else. Something he'd forgotten the name for. Around midnight, Gracie started screaming. Sam was at the bed before he knew he'd moved. The little girl was thrashing, eyes squeezed shut, clawing at something only she could see. "No, don't put me in there. Don't lock the door. Please, Uncle Vernon, please." Lily was already awake, trying to hold her sister down. Hannah struggled up on one elbow, face twisted with pain. "Gracie," Sam's voice was gentle, firm. "Gracie, wake up. You're safe." "The dark! The dark is coming!" Sam did something he hadn't done in 7 years. He gathered the tiny girl in his arms and held her against his chest. "Ain't no dark here," he said quietly. "See? Fire's burning bright. I'm right here. Ain't nothing gonna hurt you." Gracie's eyes flew open, wild, terrified. Then she saw his face, felt his arms around her, and something broke. She sobbed, really sobbed, loud and ugly and raw, the way a child should be allowed to sob, but hadn't been. Sam held her while she cried. He didn't shush her, didn't tell her to be quiet, just let her break. Behind him, Hannah whispered to Lily, "He's not going to hurt her." "I know," Lily whispered back. I think he's good." "Nobody's that good." "Maybe he is." Sam didn't hear them. He was too busy holding a 4-year-old girl who'd just learned that monsters were real, and sometimes they wore your family's face. "Mr. Sam?" Gracie's voice was muffled against his chest. "Yeah, little one? Do you have a doggie? I like doggies. We used to have a doggie named Biscuit, but Uncle Vernon kicked him and he ran away, and I never saw him again." Sam's jaw tightened. "I got a dog," he said. "His name's Bear. He's sleeping in the barn tonight because he don't like strangers. But I reckon he'll like you just fine once he meets you." Gracie pulled back, looked at him with those huge blue eyes. "Really?" "Really. You can meet him tomorrow, if you want." "I want." She yawned suddenly, hugely. "Mr. Sam, will you stay while I sleep, so the dark don't come back?" Sam looked at Hannah, at Lily, at the rifle by the window. "I'll stay," he said. "I'll be right here." Gracie smiled, the first smile he'd seen from any of them. Then she closed her eyes and was asleep in seconds. Sam sat on the edge of the bed, one hand resting on Gracie's back, and watched the window. The storm was still raging. Vernon was still out there somewhere, planning his next move. But right now, in this moment, 3 girls were sleeping safe and warm. It wasn't enough. It wasn't close to enough. But it was a start. Outside, a rider was watching the cabin from the tree line. Snow clung to his shoulders. His horse stamped in the cold. Vernon Crane didn't smile. He didn't need to. He'd already sent the telegram to Judge Whitmore. Already set the wheels in motion. The hermit thought he'd won tonight, thought his rifle and his stubbornness would be enough. He was wrong. By morning, every person in Silver Creek would believe that Samuel Hollister was a dangerous man. By week's end, they'd be calling for his arrest. By day 10, he'd have nothing left. And then the girls would be his again. This time, he wouldn't make the mistake of letting them run. Vernon pulled his coat tighter and turned his horse toward town. 10 days. That was more than enough time to destroy one broken hermit and claim what was rightfully his. The railroad was coming. The money was waiting. And 3 little girls were the only thing standing in his way. Not for long. Morning came gray and cold. Sam hadn't slept. His eyes burned, his back ached from sitting rigid all night. But the girls were alive. That was enough. Hannah woke first. She always woke first. 11 years of protecting her sisters had trained her body to never rest too deep. "Mr. Sam?" He turned from the window. "How you feeling?" "Like I got trampled by a horse." She sat up slowly, wincing. "But I felt worse." Sam believed her. That was the terrible part. "I'm going to make breakfast," he said. "Eggs. Bacon if I can find some. You stay in bed." "I can help." "You can rest."
"I don't know how to rest."
Sam looked at her. 11 years old. Dark circles under her eyes. Shoulders squared like she was waiting for a blow. "Then learn," he said, "starting today." He walked to the stove. Behind him, he heard Lily stirring, heard Gracie mumbling in her sleep about doggies and dark cellars. The eggs were frying when the knock came. Sam grabbed his rifle, moved to the door. "Who's there?" "Clara Ming, from the telegraph office." Sam cracked the door. A woman stood on his porch, small but straight-backed, dark hair pinned tight, eyes sharp as flint. "Mr. Hollister, we need to talk." "About what?" "About the 3 girls you've got in there, and about Vernon Crane." She glanced over her shoulder. "Can I come in? I'd rather not have this conversation where his men might hear." Sam opened the door wider. Clara stepped inside, stamping snow off her boots. She stopped when she saw the girls. Her face changed, softened. "Oh, honey." She moved toward Hannah, then stopped herself. "May I?" Hannah nodded warily. Clara crouched beside the bed, examined Hannah's bandaged hands, her wrapped feet, the bruises on her face. "Who did this to you?" "Uncle Vernon." "The belt marks, too?" "Yes, ma'am." Clara's jaw tightened. She stood, turned to Sam. "The whole town's talking. Vernon rode in at dawn, told everyone you kidnapped his nieces, said you're dangerous, said you have unnatural intentions toward children." Sam's grip tightened on the rifle. "And they believed him?" "Some did. Some didn't." Clara pulled a folded paper from her coat. "But this came through the telegraph this morning, addressed to Sheriff Garrett, from Judge Whitmore." Sam took the paper, read it. His stomach dropped. "Custody order. Immediate return of the children, or I'll be arrested for kidnapping and—" He couldn't finish. "And investigated for crimes against children." Clara's voice was hard. Vernon's playing dirty, Mr. Hollister. He's not just trying to get those girls back. He's trying to destroy you. Why? Why does he hate me that much? He doesn't hate you. He doesn't care about you at all. Clara glanced at the girls. He cares about 640 acres of prime land sitting right in the path of the Northern Pacific Railroad. Land that belongs to these 3 girls. Hannah pushed herself up on one elbow. That's what I told him. Uncle Vernon killed our parents for the land. Clara nodded slowly. I believe you, child. I've believed it for months. Your father came to see me before he died. Asked me to send a telegram to the territorial marshal. Said he was worried about his brother. Said Vernon had been asking strange questions about the property. About what would happen if something happened to him and your mother. Did you send it? Sam asked. I tried. The line was cut that same week. And a month later, your parents were dead. Clara's hands clenched. I've been watching Vernon ever since. Watching him buy up land from grieving widows. Watching accidents happen to anyone who gets in his way. Can you prove any of it? Not yet, but I'm working on it. She looked at Sam. That's why I'm here. I need your help. My help? Lady, I can barely keep these girls alive. I've got 10 days before the law comes for me. 9 days now, and that's exactly why you need me. Clara pulled another paper from her coat. This is a map of every property Vernon has acquired in the last 3 years. 4 homesteads, 4 families, 4 accidents. Sam studied the map. A red line cut through all 4 properties. The railroad survey line, Clara said. Every single one of those homesteads sits right on it, including the Whitmore land. Whitmore? That's the girl's family name. Their father was Thomas Whitmore. Changed it to protect them after Vernon started asking questions. Hannah's voice was quiet. He said if anything happened to him, we should use Mama's maiden name, Brennan. Smart man, Clara said. Not smart enough, but smart. Lily had crawled out of bed. She stood beside Hannah, holding Gracie's hand. Miss Clara, can you help us? Clara knelt down. Her voice went gentle. I'm going to try, sweetheart. I'm going to try real hard. That's what everyone says. Then they don't. I know, but I'm not everyone. Clara touched Lily's cheek. I know what it's like when nobody believes you, when the law is just a word men use to keep you quiet. I've been fighting that my whole life. She stood, looked at Sam. The telegraph line's been cut again, 2 miles east of town, right where it crosses Vernon's land. I need to fix it. Send a message to the territorial capital. Get someone to check if Judge Whitmore's signature on those custody papers is real. You think it's forged? I think Vernon Crane has been forging documents for years. I think Judge Whitmore is either in his pocket or too scared to stop him. Clara's eyes blazed. And I think if we can prove it, we can bring him down. That's a lot of thinking, not much proof. Then help me get proof. Clara grabbed his arm. You were a soldier, weren't you? I can see it in how you hold that rifle, how you checked the windows, how you positioned yourself between me and the girls the moment I walked in. Sam didn't deny it. I need someone to watch my back while I fix that telegraph line. Vernon's got men everywhere. If they catch me on his property, they'll kill you. Probably. Or worse. Clara's voice didn't waver. But I'm going anyway. Tonight. With or without you. Sam looked at the girls. At Hannah's bandaged hands. At Lily's 2 old eyes. At Gracie, still sleeping, clutching that rag doll like it was the only safe thing in the world. I can't leave them alone. I know. That's why I brought help. Another knock at the door. Sam raised his rifle again.
"It's Father Murphy," Clara said. "I asked him to come."
Sam opened the door. An old man stood on the porch, white hair wild from the wind, breath pluming in the cold. "Mr. Hollister, I've heard what Vernon is saying about you. I don't believe a word of it." "You don't know me, Father. I know you saved 3 children from freezing to death. I know you stood up to a man with the law on his side because it was the right thing to do." Murphy stepped inside. "That tells me everything I need to know." The priest moved to the bed, blessed the girls with a quick sign of the cross. "How are you feeling, children?"
"Better,"
Hannah said, then softer.
"Father Murphy, do you remember my papa?"
"I do. Thomas was a good man. Came to confession once, troubled about something. Wouldn't say what." Murphy's face grew serious. "But he asked me to keep something safe for him. Said if anything happened to him, I should give it to someone he trusted." Sam's heart quickened. "What was it?" "A document, sealed. I never opened it." Murphy reached into his coat. "He said I'd know the right person when I met them." He held out a yellowed envelope. "I believe you're that person, Mr. Hollister." Sam took the envelope. His fingers trembled slightly as he broke the seal. Inside was a single sheet of paper, legal script, faded but clear. "Last will and testament of Thomas and Margaret Whitmore." Sam read aloud, his voice rough. "In the event of our deaths, we appoint Samuel Hollister of Silver Creek as guardian of our daughters, Hannah, Lily, and Grace. We entrust to him all property and assets associated with our homestead, to be held in trust until our eldest daughter reaches the age of 21. Silence. Then Lily whispered,
"Papa knew you?"
Sam's hand shook. I don't understand. I barely knew your father. I met him once, maybe twice." "There's more," Murphy said. "Keep reading." Sam's eyes dropped to the bottom of the page. "Samuel Hollister saved my life in the winter of 1879. A mine collapse trapped me underground. The rescue crew couldn't get through. Hollister carried me 5 miles through the snow with my leg broken. He asked nothing in return, refused payment, left before I could thank him properly. I have never forgotten. If my children need a protector, he is the only man I would trust with their lives." The paper blurred. Sam blinked hard. "I remember that day," he said quietly. "There was a cave-in at the Bannock silver mine. I heard the screaming. Went in. Found a man trapped under timber. Carried him out." "That man was my papa?" Hannah's voice cracked. "I didn't know his name. He was just a man who needed help." "And you helped him?" Tears ran down Hannah's cheeks. "You saved his life, and now you're saving ours." Sam couldn't speak. His throat had closed up. Clara broke the silence. "This changes everything. This will supersede Vernon's guardianship claim. It was written before your parents died. It's legal. Binding." "If we can prove it's authentic," Murphy added. "If we can get it in front of a judge who isn't in Vernon's pocket." "The territorial circuit judge comes through in 6 weeks, Clara said. "But we don't have 6 weeks. We have 9 days." "Then we work fast." Sam folded the will carefully, tucked it inside his shirt, close to his heart. "Father Murphy, can you stay with the girls tonight?" "Of course." "Clara, we'll fix that telegraph line. Tonight. Before Vernon knows we're coming." Clara nodded. "There's one more thing. I found something near the cut in the wire. Tool marks. Distinctive threading from surveyor's pliers." She pulled a scrap of copper from her pocket. The same tool that could have been used to file the bolts on a wagon wheel. Hannah went rigid.
The wheel that came off Mama and Papa's wagon. Yes. Clara's voice was gentle but firm. Sheriff Garrett kept that bolt. If we can match the tool marks, we can prove Uncle Vernon killed them. Hannah's good eye blazed. We can prove everything.
First, we fix the line. Get a message to the Capitol. Verify that Judge Whitmore's signature is forged. Sam grabbed his coat. Then we bring Vernon Crane down. Gracie stirred on the bed, yawned, looked around with bleary eyes.
Mr. Sam, where are you going?
Sam crouched beside her. I have to go out for a little while, little one, but Father Murphy is going to stay with you, and I'll be back before morning.
Promise?
There was that word again, the one that tasted like rust. I promise.
Okay.
Gracie reached up and touched his face. Her fingers were small and warm.
Be careful, Mr. Sam. Uncle Vernon is mean.
I know, little one, but I'm meaner. Gracie giggled. The sound was so unexpected, so bright, that everyone in the room went still. Then Hannah smiled, just barely, just a crack in the armor.
Come back safe, she said.
I will. Sam and Clara left as the sun was setting. The temperature was dropping fast, the wind picking up. Another storm coming. They rode east, staying off the main road, cutting through the tree line where Vernon's men wouldn't expect them. How'd you know about me? Sam asked. About the mine rescue. I didn't. Father Murphy told me this morning, after I showed him the will. Clara guided her horse around a fallen tree. He'd been holding on to that envelope for 4 years. Didn't know who it was meant for until he saw you standing up to Vernon last night. I was just trying to keep those girls safe. That's exactly the point. Clara looked at him. You did the right thing when nobody was watching, when it cost you something. That's what Thomas Whitmore saw in you. That's what I see. Sam didn't know how to respond. He'd spent 7 years convincing himself he was a broken man, a hermit, a ghost haunting his own life. Now, 3 little girls and a stubborn telegraph operator were treating him like some kind of hero. He wasn't sure he could live up to it. They reached the telegraph line around midnight. Clara dismounted and examined the wire with a small lantern. Here, she pointed to the cut. Clean slice, same as before. Sam kept watch while she worked. His rifle was loaded. His eyes scanned the tree line. The wind was brutal now, cutting through his coat like knives. How long? He asked. Hour, maybe less if my fingers don't freeze. She worked in silence, splicing wire, testing connections. Sam paced a circle around her, watching for movement. Nothing came. By the time she finished, the first light of dawn was creeping over the mountains. Done. Clara packed up her tools. I can send the message as soon as we get back to town. Will it work? Will they answer in time? I don't know, but it's the best chance we've got. They rode back to Sam's cabin as the sun rose. Father Murphy was dozing in the chair by the fire. The girls were still asleep, tangled together in the bed like puppies. Safe. Still safe. I'll send the telegram now, Clara said. Meet me at the telegraph office at noon. We should have an answer by then. She rode off toward town. Sam sat down heavily. The exhaustion hit him all at once. His eyes burned. His bones ached. Father Murphy stirred. You look terrible. Feel worse. Get some sleep. I'll watch over them. I can't sleep. Not until this is over. Mr. Hollister, Murphy's voice was firm. You're no good to those girls dead on your feet. An hour. That's all I'm asking. Sam wanted to argue, but his body was already surrendering, sliding down in the chair, his eyes closing despite himself. He dreamed of Clara, his Clara, The way she'd looked on their wedding day. The way she'd smiled when she told him she was pregnant. The way she'd screamed when the bleeding started. He woke with a jolt. Gracie was standing in front of him, her face inches from his.
"Mr. Sam? You were crying in your sleep."
Sam touched his face, wet. "Bad dream," he said. "Just a bad dream."
"I have those too."
Gracie climbed into his lap without asking permission, curled against his chest like she belonged there.
"Hannah says if you hold on to something warm, the bad dreams can't get you."
Sam's arms wrapped around her. Instinct, muscle memory from a lifetime ago. "Hannah's pretty smart."
"She's the smartest person in the whole world."
Gracie yawned.
"But don't tell Lily I said that. She thinks she's smartest because she can read big words."
"Your secret's safe with me." They sat like that for a while. The fire crackled. Outside, the wind had died down. Sunlight streamed through the window.
"Mr. Sam?"
"Yeah, little one?"
"Are you going to be our new papa?"
The question hit him like a punch to the chest. I don't know. Maybe, if you want me to be."
"I want."
Gracie's voice was small but certain.
"Hannah and Lily are scared to want things. They think if you want something, you jinx it. But I'm only 4. I don't know how to not want things yet."
Sam laughed. He couldn't help it. The sound surprised him. "Then you keep wanting, little one. You keep wanting for all of us."
"Okay."
She snuggled deeper into his chest.
"Mr. Sam, I'm hungry."
"Then let's make breakfast." He carried her to the stove, Gracie still clinging to him like a monkey. Father Murphy had already started the coffee. Hannah and Lily were awake now, watching him with careful eyes. "I'm making eggs," Sam announced. "Anyone got a problem with that?"
"I like eggs,"
Lily said quietly. "Good, because that's what we're having." They ate together, the first real meal Sam had shared with anyone in 7 years. It was messy. Gracie got egg on her chin. Lily spilled her milk. Hannah ate like she was afraid the food would disappear. It was perfect.
"I have to go to town," Sam said when the plates were empty. "Clara's got news. About the telegram."
Hannah's face tightened.
"Can we come?"
"No, it's not safe. Vernon's got the whole town believing I'm a monster. If they see you with me, they'll think you forced us." Hannah's voice was bitter. "I know how this works." "I'll be back before dark. Father Murphy will stay with you." "And if you don't come back?" Sam met her eyes. "Then you take your sisters and run. North. Toward Canada. Don't stop until you're across the border." "We can't outrun him." "You did once. You can do it again." Sam pulled on his coat. "But I'm coming back. I promise." "You keep making promises." "I keep meaning them." He rode into Silver Creek around noon. The streets were quieter than usual. People turned away when they saw him. Whispers followed him like shadows. Monster. Kidnapper. Child stealer. Vernon's poison was spreading. Clara was waiting at the telegraph office. Her face told him everything before she opened her mouth.
"The message got through. I have an answer."
"And?" She handed him the telegram. Her hand was shaking. Sam read it again. "The signature's forged."
"Yes. Judge Whitmore was in Helena the week those custody papers were signed. He couldn't have been in Silver Creek. Someone copied his signature."
"Vernon."
"Has to be."
Clara's eyes were bright.
"This is it, Sam. This is the proof we need. If we can get this to Sheriff Garrett, he'll have to investigate. He'll have to."
"Where is he?"
"His office. But Sam,"
Clara grabbed his arm,
"Vernon's there too. He's been there all morning, filling Garrett's head with lies. If you go in there now,
Then I go in there now. He pushed through the door before Clara could stop him. The sheriff's office was small. One desk, 2 chairs, a cell in the back that had never held anyone more dangerous than a drunk miner. Sheriff Garrett sat behind the desk. Vernon Crane stood beside him, a cup of coffee in his hand, a smile on his face. The smile died when Sam walked in. "Hollister," Vernon's voice went cold. "You've got nerve showing your face in town. And you've got nerve forging legal documents." Sam slapped the telegram on the desk. "Read it, Tom. Judge Whitmore wasn't in Silver Creek when those custody papers were signed. He was in Helena. The signature's a fake." Garrett picked up the telegram. His face changed as he read. "Vernon? It says nothing. A telegram can be faked. Anyone could have sent that. It came from the territorial clerk's office." Clara stepped in behind Sam. "I can show you the confirmation. The message is authentic." "The message is a lie." Vernon's voice rose. "These people are trying to steal my nieces, my brother's children, my blood. Your brother's children that you beat bloody." Sam stepped forward. "Your brother that you murdered for his land." "That's slander."
Is it? Sam pulled out the copper wire. "Clara found this near the cut in the telegraph line. Same tool marks as the bolt from Thomas Whitmore's wagon. The bolt that was filed so the wheel would come off." Vernon's face went white, then red. "You have no proof." "I have plenty of proof. I have a forged signature. I have tool marks that match. I have 3 girls with belt marks on their backs that match your buckle exactly." Sam leaned in. "And I have a will. A legal will that names me as guardian of those children, written by their father 2 years before you killed him." The room went silent. Garrett stood slowly. His hand moved to his pistol. "Vernon, I'm going to need you to come with me." "You can't be serious," Vernon laughed. It sounded wrong, hollow. "Tom, we've known each other for years. You're going to take the word of a hermit and a half-breed telegraph operator over mine?" "I'm going to take the word of evidence." Garrett's voice was steady. "And right now, the evidence says you've got questions to answer." Vernon's mask cracked. The smooth politician disappeared. Something ugly took his place. "You'll regret this, Tom. Both of you will." "Maybe." Garrett pulled out his handcuffs. "But I'll sleep better." He reached for Vernon's arm. Vernon moved faster than Sam expected. His hand came out of his coat with a derringer, small and silver and deadly. "Nobody move." Garrett froze. Clara gasped. Sam's hand twitched toward his rifle, but Vernon swung the gun toward him. "Don't even think about it, Hollister." Vernon backed toward the door. "I'm walking out of here, and if anyone tries to stop me, I'll put a bullet in the telegraph woman first." "Vernon," Garrett's voice was calm, steady. "Don't make this worse." "Worse? You've already ruined everything." Vernon's voice cracked. 4 years of planning, 4 years of waiting, and now some hermit with a guilt complex is going to take it all away? "Put the gun down." "No." Vernon reached the door. "I'm leaving, and those girls are coming with me." "Over my dead body," Sam said. Vernon smiled. It was the ugliest thing Sam had ever seen. "That can be arranged." He fired. The bullet caught Sam in the shoulder. He went down hard, blood spraying across the floorboards. Clara screamed. Garrett drew his pistol, but Vernon was already through the door, already running for his horse. "Go after him!" Clara was at Sam's side, pressing her hands against the wound. "I've got him! Go!" Garrett ran. Sam tried to get up. The pain hit him like a wall of fire. "Stay down," Clara's voice was firm. "The bullet went clean through. You're going to be fine, but you have to stay down." "The girls," Sam's vision was swimming. "He's going for the girls." "Garrett will stop him." "He won't. Vernon's got men. 12 at least." Sam grabbed Clara's arm. Get to my cabin. Warn them, please. I can't leave you. You have to.
Blood was soaking through his shirt. The world was getting dark around the edges.
Please, Clara. Don't let him take them. Don't let him.
The darkness swallowed him whole. Clara ran. She'd never run so fast in her life. Her horse was tied outside the sheriff's office, and she was in the saddle before the echoes of the gunshot faded. Behind her, she could hear shouting. Garrett's voice. Other voices. The town waking up to chaos. She didn't look back. The road to Sam's cabin was 5 miles of frozen mud and ice. Vernon had a head start. He knew shortcuts she didn't, and he had men waiting. But Clara had something Vernon didn't. She had the truth, and she had a promise to keep. The horse's hooves pounded against the frozen ground. Wind cut at her face. She pushed harder. 2 miles out, she saw the smoke. Black smoke rising from the direction of Sam's cabin.
No.
The word tore from her throat.
No, no, no.
She kicked the horse into a gallop. Father Murphy heard them coming before he saw them. The sound of hoofbeats, a lot of them, coming fast from the east. He moved to the window, squinted through the frost. 6 riders, maybe 7. Too many to be friendly. Hannah? His voice was calm, steady, the voice of a man who'd given last rites on battlefields. Get your sisters, now. Hannah didn't ask questions. She grabbed Lily's hand, scooped Gracie off the floor. The root cellar, Murphy said. There's a door behind the woodpile. Go.
What about you?
I'll hold them off.
Father, you can't.
I can and I will. Murphy picked up Sam's rifle. His hands didn't shake. Your father trusted me with that will for 4 years. I'm not letting his children die today.
You're a priest. You can't shoot anyone.
Watch me. Hannah stared at him for one long moment. Then she ran, pulling her sisters behind her. The root cellar was dark and cold. Gracie started whimpering the moment the door closed.
Shh. Hannah pulled her close. It's okay, baby. It's okay. I don't like the dark, Hannah. The dark is where bad things happen. Not this time, I promise. Mr. Sam promised too. Where's Mr. Sam?
Hannah didn't answer. She didn't know. Above them, she heard the front door crash open. Vernon's voice carried through the floorboards like poison. Where are they, old man? Gone. Murphy's voice was steady. Left an hour ago. You just missed them. You're lying. I'm a priest. I don't lie. Then you won't mind if my men search the place. Footsteps, heavy boots crossing the floor above. Hannah pressed her hand over Gracie's mouth. Check the barn, Vernon ordered. Check the shed. They couldn't have gotten far. What about the old man? Leave him. He's not worth the bullet. The footsteps moved away. Hannah heard the front door slam. Then she heard something else. A crackling sound, growing louder. Smoke began seeping through the cracks in the cellar door.
Hannah?
Lily's voice was tiny.
Is that fire?
Hannah's blood went cold. They were burning the cabin. Clara saw the flames as she crested the hill. Sam's cabin was burning. Orange light against the gray sky, black smoke billowing upward like a signal of doom.
No!
She rode straight into the chaos. Vernon's men were circling the property, torches in hand. The barn was already catching. The shed was gone. Clara pulled her pistol. She'd never shot anyone before, never even pointed a gun at a living person. But she'd promised Sam. She fired into the air. The men scattered, confused, looking for the source of the shot.
Over here! Clara screamed. Sheriff's coming! Garrett's right behind me!
It was a lie. She had no idea where Garrett was. But Vernon's men didn't know that. 2 of them bolted for their horses. A third hesitated, looking toward Vernon. Vernon stood by the burning cabin, his face lit by flames.
He turned toward Clara, and she saw the madness in his eyes.
"Kill her." The man raised his rifle. Clara kicked her horse hard, veering left as the bullet whizzed past her ear. "The cellar!" she screamed toward the cabin. "Hannah, the cellar door!" She didn't know if anyone could hear her, didn't know if the girls were even alive, but she had to try. Another shot cracked the air. Her horse stumbled, then kept running. Clara circled wide, drawing the men away from the cabin, away from wherever the girls might be hiding. She heard Vernon screaming orders, heard more gunfire, felt something hot graze her arm. Then she heard something else, hoofbeats, lots of them, coming from the west. Sheriff Garrett burst through the tree line with a dozen men behind him. Ranchers, miners, men from town who'd heard the gunshot in the sheriff's office and come running. "Vernon Crane!" Garrett's voice boomed across the chaos. "You're under arrest." Vernon's face twisted.
For a moment, Clara thought he might fight, might go down shooting. Then he ran, straight toward the burning cabin.
"The girls!" Clara screamed. "He's going for the girls!" Hannah heard everything. The gunshots, the screaming, the roar of the fire above them, and now footsteps, coming closer. "Hannah?" Lily was crying. "Hannah, I can't breathe." The smoke was getting thicker, seeping through every crack, filling the small cellar with gray death. "We have to get out." Hannah's mind raced. "There's another way. There has to be." She felt along the walls. Dirt, roots, stone. There, a loose board. She pushed. It didn't move. "Lily, help me." Together, they shoved. The board creaked, gave way. Cold air rushed in. Fresh air. "Go!" Hannah pushed Lily through the gap. "Take Gracie, run for the trees." "What about you?" "I'm right behind you. Go!" Lily grabbed Gracie's hand and crawled through the opening. Hannah followed, her shoulders scraping against the frozen dirt. They emerged behind the cabin, in the shadow of the woodpile. The fire hadn't reached this side yet. "The trees," Hannah whispered. "Don't look back. Just run." They ran. Vernon saw them, 3 small figures, darting across the snow toward the tree line. The oldest one in front, pulling the middle one, the smallest one stumbling behind. His nieces, his property, his ticket to everything. He ran after them. "Hannah!" The oldest one looked back. Her face was streaked with soot and tears. "Leave us alone!" she screamed. "Just leave us alone!" "You belong to me!" Vernon's voice cracked with fury. "The law says you belong to me!" "The law's wrong!" She kept running, but she was slowing down. The middle one was dragging. The little one was barely moving. Vernon was faster, stronger. He'd catch them in seconds. Then Hannah did something that stopped his heart. She let go of her sister's hands. "Lily, take Gracie and run." "Hannah, no!" "Run!" Lily hesitated for one terrible moment. Then she grabbed Gracie and ran, disappearing into the trees. Hannah turned to face Vernon. She was 11 years old, thin as wire, barely standing, but her eyes were iron. "You want me? Come get me." Vernon smiled. "Brave little thing, aren't you? Just like your father." "Don't talk about my father." "Why not? I knew him better than you think. Knew he was weak, soft. That's why he had to die." Vernon stepped closer. "Your mother begged, you know, at the end. Begged me to spare you girls." Hannah's hand shook, but she didn't run. "I told her I would. Told her I'd take care of you." Vernon laughed. "I lied." "I know." "Then you know what comes next." He reached for her. A gunshot split the air. Vernon screamed, clutched his leg, fell. Hannah spun around. Sam stood at the edge of the tree line. His shirt was soaked with blood,
His face was white as bone. He could barely stand, but his rifle was steady. "Get away from her!" Sam's voice was raw, broken. "Get away from her, or the next one goes through your skull." "Hollister!" Vernon clutched his bleeding leg. "You're supposed to be dead." "Takes more than a bullet to kill me." Sam stumbled forward. Each step looked like agony, but he kept coming. "Hannah, go to your sister's." "Mr. Sam." "Go." Hannah ran. She didn't look back. Sam stopped in front of Vernon. The rifle never wavered. "You killed their parents." It wasn't a question. "You can't prove anything." "I don't have to prove anything to you." Sam cocked the rifle. "I just have to pull this trigger." Vernon's face went pale. "You won't. You're not a killer." "I was a soldier for 3 years. I've killed more men than you've ever met." Sam's voice was empty, cold. "One more won't make a difference. The law lets you beat 3 little girls. The law lets you murder their parents. The law was going to hand them back to you so you could finish the job." Sam leaned in. "So don't talk to me about the law." Vernon's eyes darted past Sam, looking for help, looking for escape. There was none. Sheriff Garrett was walking toward them, pistol drawn. Clara was behind him, clutching her bleeding arm. A dozen men surrounded the burning cabin, watching. "Sam," Garrett's voice was cautious. "Put the gun down." "Why should I?" "Because if you kill him, you're a murderer, and those girls need you alive." Sam's finger tightened on the trigger. "He deserves to die." "Maybe, but that's not your call to make." Garrett stopped beside him. "Let me take him in. Let him stand trial. Let the whole territory see what he did. And if he gets off, if his money buys another judge, then we'll cross that bridge when we come to it." Garrett put his hand on Sam's shoulder. "But right now, 3 little girls are watching from those trees, and they need to see that there's another way, that justice doesn't always come from a bullet." Sam looked toward the tree line. Hannah stood at the edge. Lily and Gracie clutched against her sides. All 3 of them were watching, waiting. Gracie's voice carried across the snow. "Mr. Sam, are you okay?" Something broke inside him. He lowered the rifle. "Take him," he said to Garrett. "Get him out of my sight." Garrett nodded, pulled Vernon to his feet. The man screamed as weight hit his wounded leg. "This isn't over, Hollister," Vernon shouted as Garrett dragged him away. "I have money. I have connections. You haven't won." Sam didn't answer. He was already walking toward the girls. He made it 5 steps before his legs gave out. Hannah caught him. 11 years old, thin as wire, and she caught him, held him up, kept him from hitting the ground. "I've got you, Mr. Sam. I've got you." "Hannah." His vision was swimming. Blood loss, shock, everything catching up at once. "Don't talk. Save your strength." Hannah's voice was fierce, commanding. "Lily, get Miss Clara. Tell her Mr. Sam needs help." Lily ran. Gracie stood frozen, tears streaming down her face. "Is Mr. Sam dying? Hannah, is he dying?" "He's not dying." Hannah's arms tightened around him. "He's not allowed to die. He promised." Sam wanted to say something, wanted to tell her he was fine, that everything would be okay. But the darkness was coming again. "You kept your promise," Hannah whispered. "You came back. You saved us." "Told you I would." "I know." She was crying now. Hannah, who never cried. Hannah, who'd been strong for everyone else for so long. "I know you did." "Hannah." "Shh, don't talk. Just breathe." "I have to tell you something." "It can wait." "No, it can't." Sam forced his eyes open, forced himself to focus on her face. "I'm not your papa. I can't replace him. I wouldn't try." "I know. But I'm going to take care of you, all three of you, for as long as I'm breathing." Hannah's tears fell on his face, hot against his cold skin. "Is that another promise?" "It's the only kind I make." She laughed. It was broken and wet and beautiful. "Okay, Mr. Sam. Okay." Clara reached them seconds later. She dropped to her knees, pressing her hands against Sam's shoulder. "The bullet's still in there. We need to get him to the doctor." "Is he going to be okay?" Hannah's voice shook. "He's going to be fine, but we need to move. Now." They loaded Sam onto a wagon. Gracie climbed in beside him, refusing to let go of his hand. Lily sat at his feet, silent and watchful. Hannah rode up front with Clara, her eyes never leaving the road. The cabin was gone, just charred timbers and ash now. Everything Sam had built in 7 years of solitude. But he was alive, and so were they. "Miss Clara?" Gracie's small voice broke the silence. "Yes, sweetheart? Where are we going to live now? Mr. Sam's house burned down." Clara glanced back at her, at the tiny girl holding a wounded man's hand like it was the only thing keeping her anchored to the earth. "We'll figure that out," Clara said. "Together." "Promise?" There was that word again, the word that meant everything. "I promise." The wagon rolled toward town. Behind them, the smoke from Sam's cabin rose into the gray sky, marking the end of one life and the beginning of another. Father Murphy was waiting at the doctor's office when they arrived. His face was black with soot, his robes singed, but he was alive. "Thank God!" He rushed to help unload Sam. "I thought, when the fire spread so fast, I thought—" "You held them off," Clara said. "You gave the girls time to escape." "It wasn't enough. Vernon still almost caught them." "But he didn't." Clara's voice was firm. "He didn't, and now he's in jail, and it's over." "Is it?" Murphy looked at Sam's pale face. "Is it really over?" No one answered. They carried Sam inside. The doctor, a thin man named Wilson who smelled of carbolic and whiskey, took one look at the wound and started barking orders. "Hot water! Clean bandages! Everyone out except the woman!" "I'm staying." Hannah planted herself by Sam's side. "Girl, this is going to be bloody." "I've seen blood before." Wilson looked at her, at the burns on her arms, the soot on her face, the steel in her eyes. "Fine, but don't faint on me." "I don't faint." The surgery took 2 hours. Sam woke up once, screaming, and Hannah held his hand until he passed out again. She didn't flinch when Wilson pulled the bullet out, didn't look away when he cauterized the wound. She just held on. When it was over, Wilson stepped back and wiped his hands. "He'll live. Lost a lot of blood, but the bullet missed anything vital." He looked at Hannah. "He's lucky." "He's not lucky." Hannah's voice was quiet. "He's stubborn." Wilson almost smiled. "Same thing sometimes." They moved Sam to a bed in the back room. Gracie immediately climbed up beside him, curling against his uninjured side. Lily sat in the chair by the window, watching the street. Hannah stood at the foot of the bed, watching Sam breathe. "You should rest." Clara's voice was gentle. "You've been through hell today. I can't rest. Not yet." "Why not?" "Because I need to know." Hannah finally looked at her. "Is it really over? Is Uncle Vernon really going to prison?" Clara hesitated. "The evidence is strong. The forged signature, the tool marks, the testimony of everyone who saw what happened today." She paused. "But Vernon has money, connections. He might find a way to fight this. Then we fight back." "Hannah!" "No!" The girl's voice was fierce. "I'm tired of running, tired of hiding, tired of being scared. She looked at Sam's sleeping face. Mr. Sam didn't run. He stood up and fought, even when it cost him everything. Even when he got shot. He almost died, but he didn't. And neither did we. Hannah's chin lifted. We're going to testify, me and Lily both. We're going to tell everyone what Uncle Vernon did. And if he tries to buy his way out, we'll keep telling people until someone listens. Clara stared at her. At this 11-year-old girl who'd walked through fire and come out the other side. You're remarkable, she said softly. You know that? I'm not remarkable. I'm just tired of being afraid. The door opened. Sheriff Garrett stepped in, hat in his hands. How's he doing? He'll live, Clara said. Good. Garrett looked at the girls, at Gracie sleeping against Sam's side, at Lily watching from the window, at Hannah standing guard. I need to take statements, from all of you, for the trial. Right now? Clara's voice sharpened. Tomorrow will do, but soon. Garrett turned to Hannah. Miss, I owe you an apology. I should have looked closer at your uncle months ago. Should have questioned the accident that killed your parents. Yes, you should have. I know, and I'm sorry. Garrett's voice was heavy. But I'm going to make it right. Vernon Crane is going to pay for what he did. I swear it. Don't swear, Hannah said. Just do it. Garrett nodded, put his hat back on. One more thing. The judge from the territorial circuit is arriving early, 3 days instead of 6 weeks. Seems someone in the capital got wind of what happened and wants to see justice done properly. Who? Clara asked. Don't know. Just know the telegram came through this morning. Garrett glanced at the bed. Tell Hollister when he wakes up. Tell him it's almost over. He left. The room was quiet. Just the sound of breathing and the crackle of the fire in the small stove. Hannah? Lily's voice came from the window. Yeah? Do you think we're safe now? Really safe? Hannah walked to her sister, sat down beside her. Put her arm around shoulders that were too thin, too tense, too young to carry so much weight. I don't know, she said honestly. But I know we're not alone anymore. And that's more than we had yesterday. Lily leaned against her. I miss Mama and Papa. Me too. Do you think they're watching? From heaven? Hannah looked at Sam, at the man who'd opened his door for 3 frozen strangers, who'd stood against the law for them, who'd taken a bullet and kept fighting. I think they sent us someone to watch over us, she said quietly. I think they knew we needed him. Mr. Sam? Mr. Sam. Lily was quiet for a moment. Then she whispered, I'm glad we knocked on his door. Me too, Lily. Me too. Night fell over Silver Creek. In the doctor's office, 3 girls slept around a wounded man. In the jail, Vernon Crane screamed threats that no one listened to. In the telegraph office, a message hummed across the wires, carrying news of justice finally coming to a small Montana town. And somewhere in the darkness, the spirit of Thomas Whitmore smiled. His girls were safe. His trust had been well placed. The door had opened, and everything had changed. Sam woke to sunlight and the smell of bread. For a moment, he didn't know where he was. The ceiling was wrong. The bed was too soft. His shoulder burned like someone had shoved hot coals under his skin. Then it came back. The gunshot. The fire. Vernon's face twisted with madness. The girls. He tried to sit up. Pain exploded through his body. Don't move. Clara's voice came from somewhere to his left. You'll tear the stitches. The girls are fine, all 3 of them. Clara appeared in his vision, pressing him gently back down. Hannah's been up since dawn. She made breakfast, burned the first batch of eggs, but the second was edible. Where are they? Gracie's playing with Bear in the yard. Your dog finally decided strangers aren't so bad. Clara smiled slightly. Lily's reading by the fire, and Hannah's standing guard at the window like she expects Vernon to break down the door any second. Old habits. I know. Clara's smile faded. The trial is tomorrow. Judge Harrison arrived this morning from the territorial capital. He's already reviewed the evidence. And? And he wants testimony. From you. From the girls. From everyone who saw what happened. Clara hesitated. Vernon's lawyer arrived too. Some fancy man from Helena. He's been talking to anyone who'll listen, saying this is all a misunderstanding. Saying Vernon was just a concerned uncle trying to retrieve runaway children. Sam's jaw tightened. Nobody believes that. Some do. The ones who owe Vernon money. The ones who benefited from his land deals. Clara's voice hardened. But most of the town saw his men burn your cabin. Most of them saw him shoot you. That's hard to explain away. I need to be there at the trial. You will be. Dr. Wilson says you can move tomorrow if you're careful. Clara touched his arm. But Sam, there's something else. Something the judge said when he arrived. What? He asked about the will. Thomas Whitmore's will. He wants to see the original document. Sam's hand moved instinctively to his chest. The will was still there, tucked inside his shirt. He'd refused to let anyone take it, even when they'd stripped him for surgery. It's safe. Good, because Vernon's lawyer is claiming it's a forgery. Says you made it up to steal the girls and their land. Sam laughed. It hurt, but he couldn't help it. I don't want their land. I don't want anything except for those girls to be safe. I know, but you'll have to prove it. Clara stood. Rest now. You'll need your strength tomorrow. She left. Sam lay in the silence, staring at the ceiling. Tomorrow. Everything would be decided tomorrow. Either Vernon Crane would hang for his crimes, or he'd walk free and come for the girls again. There was no middle ground. The door creaked open. Small footsteps crossed the floor. Mr. Sam? Gracie's voice was a whisper. Are you awake? I'm awake, little one. She appeared beside the bed. Her face was clean, her hair combed. Someone had found her a new dress, blue with white flowers. There likes me, she smiled. The bruises on her face were fading to yellow. He licked my whole face, even my nose. That means he approves of you. Hannah says dogs know things. Says they can tell if someone's good or bad. Gracie climbed carefully onto the bed, avoiding his injured shoulder. Bear growled at Uncle Vernon's men when they came. Growled real loud. Smart dog. The smartest. She curled against his side, her small body warm and trusting. Mr. Sam, are we going to the trial tomorrow? Yes. Do I have to talk? In front of everyone? Sam looked at her. 4 years old. Still learning what the world was. Still learning that sometimes the world was cruel. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do, he said carefully. Hannah and Lily might have to testify. But you're young. The judge might not ask you questions. But what if I want to? Want to what? Talk. Gracie's voice was small but steady. Hannah says we have to be brave. Says if we tell the truth, Uncle Vernon can't hurt us anymore. She looked up at him. Is that true? Sam thought about the trial, about Vernon's fancy lawyer, about all the ways the law could be twisted by men with money. I hope so, he said honestly. I hope so, little one. Me too. Gracie yawned. Mr. Sam, can I stay here, just for a little while? You can stay as long as you want. She closed her eyes. Within minutes,
Her breathing had evened out. Sam held her carefully, mindful of his shoulder, and watched the sunlight move across the floor. Tomorrow, everything would change. He just prayed it would change for the better. The courthouse was packed. Sam had never seen so many people in one place in Silver Creek. Ranchers and miners, merchants and their wives, even a reporter from the Helena newspaper who'd ridden through the night to cover the story. They'd come to see justice, or to see it fail. Sam walked in slowly, Clara on one side, Father Murphy on the other. His shoulder was bound tight, his arm in a sling. Every step hurt, but he walked. The girls followed behind, Hannah in front, holding Lily's hand, Gracie clutching her rag doll, the one that had belonged to her mother. People whispered as they passed. Sam heard fragments. "That's him, the one who saved them. I heard he got shot protecting the oldest girl. Vernon's lawyer says it's all lies. Look at those children. Look at their faces."
You think that's lies? They reached the front of the courtroom. Sam took his seat. The girls sat beside him, pressed close. Vernon was already there. He sat at the defendant's table, his leg bandaged from Sam's bullet, his face pale but composed. His lawyer, a thin man with spectacles and a practiced smile, shuffled papers like this was just another day. "All rise," the bailiff's voice echoed. "The Honorable Judge William Harrison presiding." Everyone stood. The judge entered. He was older than Sam expected, with gray hair and sharp eyes that seemed to take in everything at once. "Be seated." They sat. "We are here today to determine the guilt or innocence of Vernon Ezekiel Crane on charges of fraud, forgery, arson, attempted murder, and murder in the first degree." The judge's voice was measured, calm. "These are serious charges. The evidence will be presented, witnesses will testify, and justice will be served." He looked at Vernon. "Mr. Crane, how do you plead?" Vernon's lawyer stood. "Not guilty, Your Honor. My client is an upstanding citizen who has been the victim of a conspiracy orchestrated by—" "Save it for the testimony, counselor." The judge's voice cut like a blade. "The plea is entered. Prosecution, you may proceed." Sheriff Garrett took the stand first. He told the court about the forged custody papers, about the tool marks on the telegraph wire that matched marks on the wagon bolt, about the telegram confirming that Judge Whitmore's signature was fake. "And on the day of the incident at Mr. Hollister's cabin," the prosecutor asked, "what did you witness?" "I witnessed Vernon Crane shoot an unarmed man in the sheriff's office. I witnessed his men set fire to Mr. Hollister's cabin with 3 children inside." Garrett's voice was steady. "And I witnessed Mr. Crane pursue those children into the woods with clear intent to harm them." "Objection!" Vernon's lawyer rose. "The sheriff is speculating about my client's intent." "Overruled. Continue, Sheriff." "I've been in law enforcement for 20 years, Garrett said quietly. "I know what a man looks like when he's hunting prey. Vernon Crane was hunting those girls." The courtroom murmured. The judge banged his gavel. Clara testified next. She told the court about the telegraph line, about the pattern of land acquisitions, about the 4 other families who had died in accidents on properties Vernon wanted. "Did you investigate these accidents at the time?" the prosecutor asked. "I tried, but every time I got close, something would happen. Evidence would disappear. Witnesses would change their stories." Clara's eyes found Vernon. "Mr. Crane is very good at making problems go away." "And the Whitmore family? Hannah, Lily, and Grace's parents?" "Thomas Whitmore came to see me 2 weeks before he died. He said he was worried about his brother." Said Vernon had been asking strange questions about the property. about what would happen if something happened to him and his wife. Clara's voice tightened. He asked me to send a telegram to the territorial marshal. The line was cut that same night. And 4 weeks later, Thomas and Margaret Whitmore were dead. Their wagon crashed on a flat stretch of road where wagons don't crash. The wheel came off because the bolt had been filed. Objection! Vernon's lawyer was on his feet. This is speculation. There's no proof my client tampered with that wagon. The prosecutor smiled. Your Honor, I'd like to enter into evidence Exhibit C, the wagon bolt recovered from the Whitmore accident, and the surveyor's pliers found in Vernon Crane's office. The tool marks are an exact match. The judge examined the evidence. His face was stone. Overruled. Continue. Father Murphy testified about the will, about how Thomas Whitmore had given it to him 4 years ago, about the instructions to find someone trustworthy if anything happened. And how did you determine that Mr. Hollister was that person? The prosecutor asked. I watched him. Murphy's voice was gentle but firm. I watched him stand up to a man with legal documents and a sheriff's badge. I watched him refuse to hand over 3 beaten children to the man who beat them. I watched him take a bullet, protecting a little girl he'd known for less than a week. Murphy looked at Sam. Thomas Whitmore saved my life once. Carried me 5 miles through the snow when nobody else would try. He didn't know my name, didn't ask for anything in return, just did what was right because it was right. Murphy's voice cracked. That's the kind of man Thomas wanted for his daughters. And that's the kind of man Samuel Hollister is. The courtroom was silent. Then the prosecutor said, The prosecution calls Hannah Whitmore to the stand. Hannah stood. Her face was pale, but her spine was straight. Sam caught her hand as she passed. You don't have to do this. Yes, I do. She squeezed his fingers. For Mama and Papa. For Lily and Gracie. For you. She walked to the witness stand, sat down. Her feet didn't touch the floor. State your name for the record. Hannah Jane Whitmore. I'm 11 years old. And you're the oldest daughter of Thomas and Margaret Whitmore? Yes, sir. Can you tell the court what happened on the night of October 15th, 1882, the night your parents died? Hannah's hands gripped the edge of the witness box. We were going to visit Aunt Martha in Lewiston. Papa had loaded up the wagon that morning. Mama packed food for the trip. Lily and Gracie and me were in the back. What happened on the road? The wheel came off. The wagon tipped over. Mama was thrown out first. She hit her head on a rock. Hannah's voice was steady, but tears were running down her face. Papa tried to stop the horses, but they were scared. They dragged the wagon 50 feet before he could get them to stop. And your mother? She was dead when Papa got to her. He held her and cried. I'd never seen Papa cry before. Hannah wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. He died 2 days later. The doctor said it was internal bleeding from the crash. But I think he died because he didn't want to live without Mama. The courtroom was absolutely silent. What happened after your parents died? Uncle Vernon came. He said he was our guardian now. Said we were going to live with him. Hannah's jaw tightened. At first it wasn't so bad. He mostly ignored us. But then he started asking questions about the property, about the deed, about what would happen if we weren't around. What did you understand that to mean? Objection. The witness is a child. She can't interpret. Overruled. Answer the question, Miss Whitmore. Hannah looked directly at Vernon. I understood that he wanted us dead, just like he wanted Mama and Papa dead. Vernon's face went red. His lawyer grabbed his arm, whispered something urgent.
Did your uncle ever physically harm you or your sisters?
Yes. Hannah's voice was flat. He beat me with his belt, the one with 3 stars on the buckle. He said I talked back. I didn't. I just asked when we could go back to our own house.
How many times did he beat you?
I don't know. A lot. He beat Lily, too, when she cried at night. And he locked Gracie in the cellar when she had nightmares.
Objection! Vernon's lawyer was on his feet. These are unsubstantiated claims.
I have the scars.
Hannah stood up in the witness box. She turned around and pulled her dress down over one shoulder. The courtroom gasped. Even after weeks of healing, the belt marks were clear. 3 silver stars, stamped over and over into her skin. Those are lies. Vernon was standing now, his face purple with rage. She did that to herself.
She's a liar, just like her father.
Sit down, Mr. Crane. The judge's voice was ice.
I will not sit down. These people are trying to steal what's mine. That land belongs to me. Those children belong to me.
Mr. Crane, I will have you removed from this courtroom.
You can't do this. I have rights.
You have the right to remain silent. Sheriff Garrett was moving toward him, and I strongly suggest you use it. Vernon's lawyer pulled him back down, whispered frantically in his ear. The judge looked at Hannah. You may step down, Miss Whitmore. Thank you for your testimony. Hannah walked back to her seat. Her legs were shaking, but she held her head high. Sam pulled her close.
I'm proud of you, he whispered. So proud.
She didn't answer, just pressed her face against his good shoulder and cried. The prosecution called Lily next. She was smaller than Hannah, quieter. Her voice barely carried past the first row.
Can you speak up, sweetheart?
The prosecutor asked gently.
I'll try.
Lily clutched her rag doll in her lap.
What do you want to know?
Can you tell the court what you saw the night before your parents' accident? The night of October 14th? Lily nodded slowly.
I couldn't sleep. I got up to get water, and I saw Uncle Vernon in the barn.
What was he doing?
He had tools. Papa's tools. He was doing something to the wagon wheels.
Lily's voice trembled.
I didn't know what. I was only 7. But he looked scary. So I hid until he left.
Did you tell anyone what you saw?
I told Hannah. She said I must have been dreaming. She said Uncle Vernon lived far away and couldn't be in our barn.
Lily's tears spilled over.
But I wasn't dreaming. I know what I saw.
And later, after your parents died?
Uncle Vernon hit me when I asked about the wagon. He said if I ever told anyone about the barn, he'd hurt Hannah worse than he'd ever hurt her before.
Lily's voice broke completely. So, I didn't tell. I didn't tell anyone. And now, Mama and Papa are dead, and it's my fault. It's not your fault. The words came from Sam before he could stop them. The judge looked at him sharply. Mr. Hollister, you are out of order. I don't care. Sam stood, ignoring the pain in his shoulder. That little girl has been carrying this weight for 4 months. She's been blaming herself for something a grown man did. And I won't sit here and let her believe it's her fault. He looked at Lily. You were 7 years old. You did the best you could. You protected your sisters the only way you knew how. His voice was fierce. That's not weakness. That's courage. And I won't let anyone, not even yourself, tell you different. Lily stared at him. Her lip trembled. Then she ran, not away from him, toward him. She threw herself into his arms, sobbing against his chest.
Sam held her with his good arm, ignoring the fire in his shoulder, ignoring the whispers from the crowd. I'm sorry, she cried. I'm sorry I didn't tell. I'm sorry I didn't save them.
Shh. Sam stroked her hair. You saved your sisters. That's what matters. That's all that matters. The judge was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "Court will recess for 15 minutes. When we return, the defense may present their case." The recess passed in a blur. Clara brought water. Father Murphy prayed quietly in the corner. The girls huddled around Sam like he was the only solid thing in a world that kept shifting. "What happens now?" Hannah asked. "The defense presents their case. Then the judge decides." "What if he decides wrong?" Sam didn't have an answer for that. The recess ended. Everyone returned to their seats. Vernon's lawyer stood. "Your Honor, the defense calls Vernon Crane to the stand." Vernon walked to the witness box. His limp was pronounced, but he'd arranged his face into an expression of wounded innocence. "Mr. Crane," his lawyer began, "you've heard some very serious accusations today. How do you respond?" "I'm heartbroken." Vernon's voice was smooth, practiced. "My brother's children have been manipulated by opportunists who want their land. Everything I've done out of love for my family." "And the custody papers? The signature that the prosecution claims is forged?" "I signed them myself. Judge Whitmore authorized me to do so by telegram. It's a common practice in remote areas." Vernon spread his hands. "I never meant to deceive anyone. I simply wanted to protect my nieces." "And the belt marks on Hannah's back?" "Self-inflicted. Hannah has always been a troubled child. Her mother spoiled her terribly. When I tried to impose discipline, she rebelled. I suspect she hurt herself to gain sympathy." In the gallery, Hannah made a sound like she'd been punched. "And the fire at Mr. Hollister's cabin?" "A tragic accident. My men were carrying torches for light. The wind was high. Sparks caught the roof." Vernon's face was the picture of regret. "I never intended for anyone to be hurt." "Finally, Mr. Crane, the prosecution has suggested that you murdered your brother and his wife. How do you respond to this accusation?" Vernon looked directly at the judge. "Thomas was my brother. I loved him. His death devastated me." His voice cracked perfectly. "To suggest that I would harm him, would harm his children, is monstrous. I am the victim here. The victim of lies and manipulation by people who want what doesn't belong to them." The lawyer sat down. "Your witness," the judge said to the prosecutor. The prosecutor stood slowly. "Mr. Crane, you say you loved your brother. Is that correct?" "Deeply." "Then can you explain why, in the 4 years before his death, you visited him exactly twice? Once to ask about his property value, and once to inquire about his will." Vernon's smile flickered. "I was busy. Business kept me." "Can you explain why 3 witnesses have testified that you asked about railroad survey lines running through the Whitmore property 6 months before the survey was made public?" "I have connections, business connections who—" "Can you explain why, in the week after your brother's death, you filed claims on 4 other properties along that same survey line? Properties whose owners also died in accidents." "Coincidence. Tragic coincidence. 4 accidents, 4 properties, all on the same survey line, all acquired by you within days of the owners' deaths." The prosecutor's voice was rising. "That's a remarkable coincidence, Mr. Crane. I'm a businessman. I recognize opportunities." "Opportunities created by the deaths of innocent people?" "Objection!" Vernon's lawyer jumped up. "Withdrawn." The prosecutor turned to the judge. "Your Honor, the prosecution rests." The judge was silent for a long moment. Then he spoke. "I have heard the testimony. I have examined the evidence, and I have reached a decision." The courtroom held its breath. "The forged signature on the custody documents is clear. The tool marks on the wagon bolt match the pliers found in Mr. Crane's possession. The pattern of land acquisition following suspicious deaths is too consistent to be coincidence." The judge looked at Vernon. But more than any evidence, I am moved by the testimony of 3 children. Children who walked through a blizzard to escape a man who was supposed to protect them. Children who carry scars that no amount of money or legal maneuvering can explain away. He stood. Vernon Ezekiel Crane, I find you guilty of fraud, forgery, arson, and attempted murder on the charge of murder in the first degree regarding Thomas and Margaret Whitmore. I find sufficient evidence to bind you over for trial before a full territorial court. Vernon's face went white. Furthermore, I hereby declare all custody documents filed by Vernon Crane to be null and void. The will of Thomas Whitmore, naming Samuel Hollister as guardian of his children, is recognized as the legal and binding document of record. The judge looked at Sam. Mr. Hollister, these children are now legally in your care. Raise them well. The courtroom exploded. People were cheering, crying, shouting. Sheriff Garrett was moving toward Vernon with handcuffs. Vernon's lawyer was sputtering objections that no one listened to. Sam didn't hear any of it. He was looking at Hannah, at Lily, at Gracie. His daughters. His family.
Mr. Sam?
Gracie tugged his sleeve.
Does this mean we get to stay with you forever?
Sam pulled her close. Pulled all 3 of them close. Forever, he said. And ever, and ever. Hannah was crying again. Lily was laughing. Gracie was asking if forever meant she could play with Bear every day. Clara appeared beside them, her eyes wet.
You did it, she said. You actually did it.
We did it. Sam reached out, pulled her into the embrace. All of us. Father Murphy joined them, his old face creased with joy. Thomas would be proud, he said quietly. So proud. Across the courtroom, Vernon was being led away in chains. He looked back once, his eyes finding Sam. This isn't over, Hollister, he snarled. I'll appeal. I'll fight this. Those girls are mine. Sam looked at him calmly. They were never yours. They never will be. He pulled his daughters closer. Now get out of my sight. The doors closed behind Vernon Crane, and for the first time in 4 months, Hannah, Lily, and Grace Whitmore were truly free. The weeks after the trial passed like a fever breaking. Vernon Crane was transferred to the territorial prison to await his murder trial. His assets were seized. His land deals were unwound. 4 families received compensation for properties that should never have been taken from them. And Samuel Hollister began the slow work of building a new life. The cabin was gone. Nothing left but charred timbers and ash. But the land remained, and the forge still stood, and that was enough to start. We could stay in town, Clara said one morning, watching Sam sketch plans on a scrap of paper. Mrs. Patterson has rooms above the general store. It would be easier. Easier ain't better. Sam's pencil moved across the page. The girls need space, room to run, room to heal. They need a roof over their heads. They'll have one, soon as I can build it. Clara looked at the sketch. It was larger than his old cabin, much larger. 3 bedrooms? 1 for each of them. Sam didn't look up. They've been sleeping in the same room their whole lives. Might be nice for them to have their own space. That's a lot of building for a man with 1 good arm. I've got 2 good arms. One's just resting. Clara laughed. It was a sound Sam had grown to love over the past weeks. Warm and real and unguarded. You're stubborn, Samuel Hollister. So I've been told. The door opened. Gracie burst in, Bear at her heels, both of them covered in mud.
Mr. Sam! Mr. Sam! I found a frog!
Did you now?
He's green and slimy, and I named him Thomas." Gracie held up her cupped hands. Something inside croaked. "Can I keep him?" Sam looked at Clara. Clara looked at Sam. "Where would he live?" Sam asked carefully. "In a bucket. Hannah said frogs like buckets." "Did Hannah say that, or did you make it up?" Gracie's face scrunched. "I might have made it up a little." "How about this?" Sam crouched down to her level. "Thomas can stay in a bucket outside. You can visit him every day. But if he wants to hop away, you let him. Deal?" Gracie considered this with the gravity of a judge weighing evidence. "Deal." She stuck out her muddy hand. Sam shook it solemnly. "Now go wash up. Lunch is almost ready." Gracie ran off, Bear following, the frog croaking in her hands. Clara was watching Sam with an expression he couldn't quite read. "What?" "Nothing," she smiled. "Just thinking." "About what?" "About how different you are from the man who opened his door 6 weeks ago." Sam turned back to his sketch. His ears felt warm. "I'm the same man." "No, you're not. That man was a ghost. This man is alive." Clara touched his arm. "Those girls brought you back, Sam, whether you wanted to come back or not." He didn't argue. She was right. The building took 3 months. Sam did most of the work himself, even with his shoulders still healing. But help came from unexpected places. Ranchers who'd watched the trial brought lumber. Miners who'd heard Hannah's testimony brought nails and tools. Even Sheriff Garrett showed up one Saturday with a wagon full of window glass. "Don't say anything," Garrett muttered, unloading the glass. "Just take it." "Tom," I said, "don't say anything." Sam didn't. The girls helped too, in their own ways. Hannah learned to measure and cut boards, her hands growing calloused from the saw. Lily organized supplies with the same precision she brought to everything, keeping inventory lists in a notebook Clara had given her. And Gracie supervised, which mostly meant running around with Bear and occasionally handing Sam the wrong tool. "This is a hammer," Sam said one afternoon, looking at the screwdriver Gracie had given him. "I know. I asked for a wrench." "I know," Gracie grinned, "but the hammer was closer." Sam sighed, but he was smiling. Father Murphy came every Sunday after church. He'd sit on an overturned bucket and tell stories about the old days, about miners and missionaries and the first settlers who'd carved a life out of this unforgiving land. "Your father was one of the good ones," he told Hannah one afternoon. "Honest, hard-working, always helped his neighbors without being asked." I remember. Hannah was sanding a board, her movements slow and careful. He used to say that a man's worth wasn't measured by what he owned, but by what he gave away. Smart man. The smartest. Hannah's voice caught. I miss him every day. That's how you know he mattered. Murphy put his hand on her shoulder. The people we love never really leave us, Hannah. They live on in the things we do, the choices we make, the people we become. Hannah was quiet for a long moment. Do you think he'd be proud of me? For testifying? I think he'd be proud of you for everything. For protecting your sisters. For surviving. For learning to trust again. Murphy smiled. You've got his strength, child. His courage. Don't ever forget that. I won't. The house was finished in June. They held a small celebration. Clara brought a cake she'd baked herself, slightly lopsided, but sweet. Father Murphy said a blessing. The neighbors who'd helped with the building raised glasses of cider and wished the new family well. To the Hollisters, someone called out. To the Hollisters! Hannah looked at Sam. Is that who we are now? The Hollisters? If you want to be. What about Whitmore? That's our real name. Papa's name. Sam knelt down so he was at eye level with all three girls.
You can be whoever you want to be. Whitmore, Hollister, both, neither. He touched Hannah's cheek. Names don't make a family. Love does. And I love you three, no matter what you call yourselves. Lily spoke up quietly. Can we be both? Whitmore, Hollister? That's a mouthful. I like mouthfuls. Gracie was already eating her second piece of cake. More is better. Everyone laughed. Even Hannah, who'd been so serious, so guarded, let out a sound that was almost a giggle. Whitmore Hollister it is, Sam said. Official, as of right now. That night, after the guests had gone and the cake was reduced to crumbs, Sam sat on the porch of his new house and watched the stars come out. The door opened. Hannah came out and sat beside him. Can't sleep? He asked. Too quiet. She pulled her knees up to her chest. I keep waiting for something bad to happen, for someone to come and take this all away. Nobody's taking anything. Vernon's in prison. The law's on our side. You're safe. I know. Up here, she tapped her head. But here, she touched her heart. It takes longer. Sam nodded. He understood that better than she knew. After Clara died, I didn't sleep for 2 years. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face, heard her voice, felt her hand in mine. His voice was rough. I thought the pain would kill me. Some nights, I wanted it to. Hannah looked at him. What changed? You knocked on my door. Sam met her eyes. 3 frozen girls who needed someone. And suddenly, I had a reason to keep going. We saved you? You saved each other. I just held the door open. Hannah was quiet for a long time. Mr. Sam? Yeah? Can I call you something else? Like what? She hesitated. The words seemed stuck in her throat. Papa? Sam's heart stopped, then started again, beating harder than it had in years. You don't have to, Hannah said quickly. I know you're not our real papa. I know Thomas Whitmore will always be our father, but you're... She struggled for words. You're the one who's here, the one who stayed, the one who fought for us. Hannah, I used to think families were just blood, just people who looked like you and shared your name. She wiped her eyes. But you taught me different. You taught me that family is a choice, and I choose you if you'll have me. Sam couldn't speak. His throat had closed up completely. Instead, he pulled her close, held her the way he'd wanted to hold his own daughter, the one who'd lived for 3 hours and then slipped away. I'll have you, he managed. All 3 of you. Always. Promise? There was that word again. The word that used to taste like rust. Now, it tasted like home. I promise. They sat together as the stars wheeled overhead. Inside, Lily and Gracie were sleeping in their own rooms for the first time in their lives. Bear was snoring by the fireplace. The new house creaked and settled around them, learning to be a home. Papa? Hannah's voice was drowsy. Yeah? Thank you for opening the door. Sam kissed the top of her head. Thank you for knocking. Summer turned to fall. Fall turned to winter. The first anniversary of the girls' arrival came and went. Sam marked it quietly. A special breakfast, a day off from chores, a visit to the cemetery where they'd finally buried Thomas and Margaret Whitmore properly, with headstones and flowers and words spoken by Father Murphy that made even Hannah cry. They're at peace now, Murphy said, and so are you. Hannah laid wildflowers on her mother's grave. Lily placed a small stone on her father's headstone. Gracie talked to both of them, telling them about Bear and Thomas the Frog, and the new house and Papa Sam. Papa Sam's the best,
she said matter-of-factly. "He makes really good pancakes, and he doesn't yell, and he always keeps his promises."
Sam stood back, watching. Clara was beside him, her hand finding his.
"You did good, Sam Hollister."
"We did good." He squeezed her fingers. "All of us." Clara had been spending more and more time at the ranch. At first it was just visits, bringing supplies from town, teaching the girls to read and write, helping with the endless work of running a household. But somewhere along the way, the visits had become something else. "You should just move in," Gracie said one evening, with the devastating honesty of a 5-year-old. "You're here all the time anyway." Clara went red. Sam choked on his coffee.
"Gracie!"
Hannah was mortified.
"You can't just say things like that."
"Why not? It's true." Gracie looked at Sam. "Don't you want Miss Clara to stay, Papa?" Sam looked at Clara. Clara looked at Sam. "Well," he said slowly, "I suppose the question is whether Miss Clara wants to stay." "I suppose," Clara said, equally slowly, "that depends on whether I'm being asked." "Are you?"
"Am I what?"
"Being asked." They stared at each other. The air between them crackled.
"Oh, for goodness sake," Hannah rolled her eyes. "Papa, ask Miss Clara to marry you. Miss Clara, say yes. Can we have dessert now?"
Lily burst out laughing. Even Sam couldn't help grimming. "You heard the boss," he said to Clara. "Will you?" Clara's eyes were bright.
"Will I what?"
"Marry me. Stay with us. Be part of this family we're building." Sam's voice grew serious. "I know it's not conventional. A broken-down rancher with 3 adopted daughters and a dog that sheds too much. But I'm offering everything I have. Everything I am."
"That's quite an offer."
"Is it enough?" Clara looked at the girls. At Hannah, who was pretending not to care, but clearly cared desperately. At Lily, who was watching with quiet hope. At Gracie, who was vibrating with excitement.
"It's more than enough," Clara said.
"Yes." Gracie screamed with joy. Lily clapped her hands. Hannah tried to maintain her dignity and failed completely, throwing her arms around Clara with a force that nearly knocked them both over.
"Welcome to the family,"
Hannah whispered.
"Welcome to us."
The wedding was small, just family and close friends. Father Murphy officiated. The girls served as bridesmaids, all 3 in matching blue dresses that Clara had sewn herself. "Do you, Samuel Hollister, take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife?" "I do." "And do you, Clara Ming, take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband?" "I do." "Then by the power vested in me, I pronounce you husband and wife." Murphy smiled. "You may kiss the bride." They kissed. The girls cheered. Bear barked. And somewhere, Sam could have sworn he felt Clara, his first Clara, smiling down at them. Life settled into a rhythm. Sam worked the ranch. Clara ran the telegraph office and taught the girls their lessons. Hannah learned to ride like she'd been born in the saddle. Lily discovered a talent for numbers that Clara said would make her a fine bookkeeper someday. Gracie collected frogs and rocks and feathers and anything else that caught her eye, filling her room with treasures. They fought sometimes, small arguments about chores and bedtimes and who ate the last piece of pie. But they made up quickly, because that's what families did. Vernon Crane was convicted of murder in October. He was sentenced to hang. The girls didn't attend the execution, but Sam rode to the territorial prison and watched from the crowd as the man who'd caused so much pain finally faced justice. "It's over," Sheriff Garrett said afterward. "Really over this time."
"I know."
"How do you feel?" Sam thought about it. "Empty," he said finally.
"I thought I'd feel something more. Satisfaction. Relief. But I just feel empty.
That's because revenge never fills you up. Only love does that. Garrett clapped him on the shoulder. Go home to your family, Sam. That's where you belong. He did. Spring came again. The second spring since the girls had knocked on his door. Sam was in the forge, shaping a horseshoe, when Hannah appeared in the doorway.
Papa?
He set down his hammer.
What's wrong?
Nothing's wrong. She walked to him slowly.
I just wanted to give you something.
She held out her hand. In her palm was a small iron horseshoe, perfectly formed, still warm from the fire.
I made it myself, she said. Clara showed me how. It took me 6 tries, but I finally got it right.
Sam took the horseshoe. It was small, smaller than the ones he made, but the proportions were perfect. The curves were smooth. The nail holes were clean.
Hannah, his voice cracked. This is beautiful. I wanted to make something for you, something to say thank you.
She looked at the floor.
For everything. For opening your door. For fighting for us. For being our papa.
You didn't have to make me anything.
I know, but I wanted to.
She finally looked up.
Good things can't be rushed. That's what you said. And I've been thinking about it a lot. About how you didn't rush with us. How you let us come to you in our own time. How you never pushed or demanded or forced us to love you.
Love can't be forced.
I know, but you could have tried. Other people did.
Hannah's voice was fierce.
Uncle Vernon tried to make us obey him with fear.
Other adults tried to make us trust them with lies.
But you just waited and worked and showed us every day through everything you did that we mattered.
Sam set down the horseshoe, pulled Hannah into his arms. You do matter, he said against her hair. More than land or money or anything else in this world. You 3 are the best thing that ever happened to me.
Even better than the original Clara?
Different. Not better or worse. Just different. Sam pulled back, looked into her eyes. Love isn't the competition, Hannah. There's room in my heart for all of you. There always will be. Hannah nodded slowly. Then she smiled.
Gracie wants to know if we can have pancakes for dinner.
Pancakes for dinner?
She says it's a special occasion.
What occasion?
She didn't say. I think she just wants pancakes.
Sam laughed. Then pancakes it is. They walked back to the house together. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. The mountains stood tall in the distance. The creek sang its endless song. Inside, Lily was setting the table. Clara was mixing batter. Gracie was telling Bear a very serious story about a princess and a frog and a giant who saved them from a dragon.
The giant was really tall, Gracie said earnestly. Taller than a tree. And he had a hammer that could smash anything. But he was also really gentle. He never smashed anyone who didn't deserve it. Is this story about Papa? Lily asked. Maybe, Gracie grinned. But in my story, the giant has a beard. Papa doesn't have a beard. That's why it's my story. I can do what I want.
Sam stood in the doorway, watching his family. His wife at the stove, his daughters around the table, his dog on the floor. His home warm and bright and full of love. 2 years ago, he'd been a ghost, a hollow man living in a hollow house, waiting to die. Then 3 frozen girls had knocked on his door, and everything had changed.
Papa?
Gracie looked up at him.
Are you crying?
No, Sam wiped his eyes. Just happy.
Grown-ups are weird.
Yeah, Sam smiled. We really are. He crossed to Clara, wrapped his arms around her from behind. She leaned into him,
still stirring the batter. "What are you thinking about?" she asked softly. "Doors." "Doors?" "About how one moment can change everything. One choice. One knock." He pressed his lips to her hair. "I almost didn't open it that night. Almost stayed by my fire and let the silence swallow me." "But you didn't." "No, I didn't." "Why not?" Sam thought about it, about the knock, about the wind, about the feeling that had moved through him when he'd heard those 3 weak taps. "Because something told me that what was on the other side was worth the risk." He turned Clara to face him. And it was. God help me, it was. Even with everything that happened, the fire, the trial, getting shot? Especially with all that. Sam cupped her face in his hands. "I'd do it all again. Every moment, every scar, every sleepless night. Because it led me here. To you. To them. To this." Clara kissed him, soft and sweet and full of promise. "I love you, Samuel Hollister." "I love you too, Clara Hollister." "Ew," Gracie said loudly. "They're being mushy again." "Let them be mushy," Hannah said. "They're old. They need it." "I'm not old," Sam protested. "You're ancient," Lily said. "You have gray hair." "One gray hair." "That's how it starts," Hannah grinned. "Next you'll be complaining about your back and yelling at clouds." "I don't yell at clouds." "Yet." Everyone laughed, even Sam, though he tried to look offended. The pancakes were perfect. They ate together, all 5 of them plus Bear, who got the burnt edges because Gracie insisted dogs deserved pancakes too. After dinner, they sat on the porch and watched the stars come out. Gracie fell asleep in Sam's lap. Lily leaned against Clara's shoulder. Hannah sat beside Sam, her hand finding his in the darkness. "Papa?" "Yeah?" "Thank you." "For what?" "For opening the door." Sam looked at his oldest daughter, at the girl who'd walked 6 miles through a blizzard to save her sisters, who'd stood up to a monster and testified against him in open court, who'd learned to trust again, to love again, to believe that the world could be good. "Thank you for knocking," he said. They sat in comfortable silence as the moon rose over the mountains. Somewhere in the distance, a coyote howled. Bear's ears twitched, but he didn't bark. This was home. This was family. This was everything Sam had given up hoping for. And it had all started with a door. A door that opened on a cold winter night. A door that let in 3 frozen girls and changed everything. A door that stayed open, because that's what doors were for. Years later, people would tell the story different ways. Some said Sam was a hero who saved 3 helpless orphans. Others said the girls saved him. The truth was simpler and more complicated than either version. They saved each other. Because that's what families do. The horseshoe Hannah made hung above the front door of the Hollister house for 50 years. It weathered storms and witnessed weddings and saw 3 girls grow into 3 remarkable women. It was there when grandchildren were born and when Clara passed peacefully in her sleep at the age of 72. It was there when Sam finally let go at 89, surrounded by daughters and grandchildren and great-grandchildren who all knew the story of how their family began. A knock in the darkness. A door that opened. A choice that changed everything. Good things can't be rushed. But when they come, when you build them right, with patience and love and hands that never give up, they last forever. The door opened, the family began, and love won.